I'll start with some domestic news, which I know you have been keeping an eye on. And that is the insanity of people protesting at the homes of our Supreme Court justices. First of all, these are dumbass protesters, Piers, because according to the reports, Chief Justice Roberts isn't even in the majority in this draft opinion. He might actually already be siding with the liberals. We're not sure where he is. So they're just dopes, right? So they just go to the Chief Justice's home for actually no reason. Justice Kavanaugh seems to be part of the majority, so they go to his house. He's got 2 young daughters. No one cares. Let's go ahead and scare them. There are other protests planned, including, we're told, at Amy Coney Barrett's house. She's got young children, including a 10-year-old who happens to have Down syndrome. Great idea to go to that house and scare the child. No problem. So to me, it's disgusting, and it's actually deeply problematic because I think it's an open attempt to intimidate a court that's currently adjudicating a really important matter. It's obvious intimidation, or at least attempted intimidation. You can make a very strong case that it's actually criminal for that reason. It's not just a normal protest. And our White House here continues to shrug it off like, protest is a good thing. This is really just a run-of-the-mill protest. What do you make of it?
It's not a run-of-the-mill protest when you basically terrorize the senior judges of the country at their homes when they have young kids. That's a form of domestic terrorism that's going on. And you saw it in Wisconsin, I think, when an anti-abortion building was targeted overnight with a firebomb. It's completely outrageous behavior. This is domestic terrorism you're witnessing. And yeah, I believe in fair democratic protests, but not at the homes of judges making these important decisions. You know, abortion, I understand completely, in America is an extremely emotive issue. And it's very divided, this issue in America, far more than it is, say, in the UK, where I am now, where it got settled many decades ago, and people have sort of accepted that and moved on. In America, people feel incredibly strongly. I come from a Catholic family, and a lot of members of my family feel very strongly against abortion. I happen, for what it's worth, believe in a woman's right to choose, but that's just my personal opinion. I certainly don't want to force that onto Americans who have to make their own minds up about what kind of laws they want in their country. So having put all that on the table, surely we can all agree that whatever side of this debate you're on, whether you're pro-abortion or anti-abortion, and most people I know who support a woman's right to choose, they don't want to be seen as pro-abortion anyway, actually. They don't want to be seen that this is something good. I think we can all agree it's not a good thing. No woman wants to go through it. The argument becomes about whether it should be legal.
That's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. I know you took some guff on Twitter for saying that from the left. I would say you're wrong. You're giving too much credit in character to a lot of the loudest activists, whose largest group over here is called Shout Your Abortion. They are proud. Yeah. We had Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, the gal who brought down Andrew Cuomo and went after Harvey Weinstein, literally say she was proud to walk into Planned Parenthood and get an abortion not long ago, right when she took over as AG.
Well, actually,
there are women who are loving it.
I accept that, actually. I did get sent some tweets about that, which I wasn't really aware of what had been going on there. And I accept that. I think there are some people maybe who are proud of it.
It's very unlike you.
That to me is completely, that to me, whatever side you are on about the argument, that's wrong. I don't think anyone should be proud of it. I think it's something which is, never a desirable outcome. Nobody, I don't think, if you have a conscience or a heart, thinks this is a good thing. It's whether you think a woman should have a right to choose. I happen to think they should, but other people I know in America in particular, it's very divisive, very emotional. And I think you've got to respect both sides of the argument. What you can't have is people on either side using intimidation and arson and terrorism to try and enforce their view through. And, I think also it was a tragedy for American democracy that you had this leak about a first draft of such an important issue from the Supreme Court. And we still don't know really what the motivation for that leak was. Was it somebody on the left who wants to stop the overturning of Roe versus Wade? Or was it perhaps somebody on the right who wants the judges and the court to keep to that first draft conclusion? We don't know yet. So the idea that you can, act out these protests and forms of terrorism based on what you believe has happened here, or what you believe they may end up concluding, I think is completely ridiculous. And it flies in the face of what a free democratic society should be. It shouldn't be predicated on people getting their own view because they use forms of terrorism. Well,
and it's so crazy because people don't seem to understand what the Supreme Court does. They don't make the laws. They say what the ultimate interpretation of the Constitution and the law is. They don't make it. And this is up to their legislatures. So it's very democratic to have this go back to the states and have each state figure out what its citizens want. And while it will result in probably the loss of abortion, if this opinion comes out as the draft looked in places like Mississippi, and I know it's easy for me to say, get up and vote with your feet, walk away. That's the way the country works. I mean, that's the way it was set up. And people do it on all sorts of issues, from guns to, whatever, taxes. So that's where this is likely to land if the decision comes down. You mentioned Madison, Wisconsin. Just want to inform the audience what happened there was an anti-abortion headquarters was hit by a Molotov cocktail, by vandalism, by graffiti. There was a slogan and a phrase sprayed, if abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either. And the threat is starting to grow at places that are anti-abortion, because the pro-abortion side is getting very upset, very angry, before we even know what the decision is, Piers. That's what's so crazy. I was listening to my pals on National Review over the weekend, and they're sort of more establishment Republican types. And they were saying, all of them, they hate, Roe versus Wade, and they're pro-life. Not one of them believes this is going to come down the way it was written. They're saying that it's too good to be true. That was an initial draft. Chief Justice Roberts is probably going to break away a Brett Kavanaugh or somebody. And the odds of Roe versus Wade being overturned are probably rather slim. So what is all of this about? We have to wait to see what the actual opinion is.
Well, I think that's the problem with the leak, isn't it? Because if you leak a first draft before it's actually gone through the normal due process of the court, then this is the kind of mayhem that can erupt. And now whatever happens, there's going to be fury from one side or the other. I was really struck by, I learned when I was at CNN and did a lot of debating about gun control, for example, that Americans really don't want to hear someone with my accent tell them how they should be abiding by their own constitution. So let me just say I accept that I can have my personal views about some of these issues, but I'm not an American and I'm not an American citizen. And it's down to American citizens to have this debate amongst each other and work out what they want. Now, I was struck by, when I read all the detail in the fallout of this leak, that actually a lot of legal-minded people, I know you're a very keen legal brain, a lot of legal people thought the original law, which was laid down 50-odd years ago on Roe versus Wade, was flawed. And that has been the problem all along. But actually,
the original opinion.
People in the legal world think that it should have always reverted back to states. Now, I thought that was quite interesting. I thought it was interesting that 2/3 of Americans in the polls do not want Roe versus Wade overturned. But if it then goes to a question about how would you see it if it went back to states, they then actually are more draconian in the kind of way they would want abortion laws than even Roe versus Wade would be. So it's an interesting inconsistency there, which I think plays to the fact that I think a lot of Americans feel very, very strongly and are entrenched on their views. And many other Americans are unsure about exactly where they think the line should be. Should the term limit be here? Should there be no term limit? I think there's lots of debates to be had, but this is a debate that has to be had without the people involved in it being intimidated. Because the moment you do that, you are becoming a fascist, totalitarian state.
Yes.
You're becoming like Russia, North Korea, China, where this kind of intimidation and terrorism goes on all the time.
Are the high fuel costs putting a damper on your summer vacation plans? From higher prices at the pump to a jump in airfare, it's getting more expensive to get away for a week. But what if you could soak up those vacation vibes year-round? Get a Michael Phelps Swim Spa by Master Spas. Whether you want to stay close to home this summer or just want to extend your break, a Michael Phelps Swim Spa by Master Spas can transform your backyard into an oasis. It combines the benefits of a pool with the therapy of a hot tub. Michael Phelps Swim Spas by Master Spas have a water current so you can swim. You can do aquatic exercises. You can just have fun with the kids. This is going to reinvent family time. You'll love it, and your family and friends will too. Michael Phelps Swim Spas by Master Spas come in a variety of sizes to complement almost any yard, even if it's a small one. And since it's heated, you can use it year-round in any climate. Michael Phelps Swim Spas are 100% made in the USA by Master Spas, the world's largest swim spa manufacturer. Go to masterspas.com, put in the promo code MK to save $1,000 on a Michael Phelps Swim Spa or $500 on a Master Spas hot tub. That's masterspas.com, promo code MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.